Hey guys, what is up? Shadolance back for another review. Today I'm going to be doing the MK14 Mod 0 review. If you guys watched my Galil Ace review, which should have come out right before this one, you probably heard that I wanted to redo the MK14 Mod 0 review, and I was like, I totally gotta do this now. As soon as I was done with that, and I decided to hop right out, record some gameplay, and start kicking some ass, and this is what I got. I was quite happy with the gameplay, despite the fact that it's not the best in the world. I actually enjoyed the game, and I thought that the gameplay was enjoyable to watch, so I decided I would go ahead and make it into a review. So I got onto that a little bit faster than I thought I would. Now, I'm quite fond of this weapon from Modern Warfare 3. I really got used to using this weapon a lot on multiplayer, even though it is only a single-fire weapon in that game. It does have a single-fire mode in this game as well, but I got really used to the single-fire mode, and you will sometimes see me I don't spray this weapon as much as I possibly could. I actually do quite a bit of tap firing with this weapon. I tend to tap fire over spray, even in close ranges. That's just simply because that's how I grew up using this weapon. I also have used this weapon in a lot of other games like Ghost Recon and a lot of the newer Counter-Strike games. There are similar guns to this one. I don't believe this is in the Counter-Strike series, at least none of the ones I've played. Excuse me, and just had some like tacos earlier, so it's like I got my belching going on. But anyway, it is quite a nice gun. I will say that right off the bat. Now, if you remember seeing my Galil Ace review, if you watched that, you'll see that I did manage to mention that. Well, I say managed because I was going to say it, then I forgot about it, then I remembered it right at the last second to go ahead and say it, but. I did manage to mention, as I'm going to say, that this gun did have an outdated review. The reason it was outdated was because when they first released this weapon, it was incredibly OP. I mean, there was no recoil on the gun whatsoever. The spread was much smaller. It had a very small damage drop-off with a huge damage stat, and it could overpower most NX epics and rares, and I'm lagging a lot. But, yeah, it was quite the OP weapon, and OP most definitely defined the weapon. It's still quite a powerful weapon, definitely good for competitive gameplay, but it's been toned down quite a bit, and quite thankfully, I'm very, well, let's just put it this way, I'm thankful for that, because I didn't like seeing so many people running around with this weapon. It's not used quite as much anymore, and I'm quite happy for that, to be honest, but that's just my personal opinion. Let's head on into the stats and get this review underway. Damage of 47, portability of 61, rate of fire of 70, accuracy of 81, recoil of 65. The recoil statistic is par, maybe slightly below par, par being 66, 67, so slightly below that. Although the recoil pattern per the stat is quite hefty normally, the low recoil stat does keep it kind of under control. So let's just put it that way. The recoil is not It's strange, and I'll go into that in just a moment. The accuracy of 81 is relatively high. It's very, very good for tapping, and the accuracy with an ACOG, or as you can see, the NX scope that I have on it, while it is quite high, it will keep it like sniper rifle accuracy inside scope, and you'll see me be able to accurately tap long distances and be able to get my headshots and kills. The rate of fire of 70 is just kind of the old world assault rifle kind of fire rate. It's not super high, but it is average, so it's really not hindering with how high the damage is with this gun. You can kill very quickly. Accolades are relatively easy to get, even though I don't show that off very well in this review. The portability of 61 is slightly low. Usually we see a 63 to 65, maybe a little above that, so slightly low in the portability, but given the size of the gun and how much it must weigh in real life, I suppose that's relatively accurate to reality. So, it does have a fully automatic mode and a single fire mode, but even if it only had the single fire mode, I find this weapon to be quite formidable, for the reason I'm about to give, that the damage is 47 with a relatively low damage drop-off. It's definitely not the lowest in the world, and it is not as low as the other M14 variants. It's not even as low as the AK-47, but it is quite it's not the lowest in the world, but it is very, very manageable with the 47 damage. It's a very solid 3-shot kill at almost any range, even to a heavy vester. A tanker vester may be a 4-shot kill at some higher ranges, but this gun is very, very easy to use in my opinion. It's not as easy to use as the M416. I don't think there's any gun as easy to use as that. Even the G36 requires some amount of skill to use in comparison to the M416 series. I know I say that, even though the M416 series did get nerfed quite well, but it's still a relatively easy to use weapon, especially the M416 CQB. Just an easy weapon to use. Now, personally, I've always preferred the SG556 Mark II and the SG556 Camo and the Mark II of that. I've always preferred those 556 series. That's just what I've always preferred. So it does have the single fire semi-automatic automatic mode and the automatic So, customization includes a sight, suppressor, and magazine, as the Mod 0 name implies. If you guys didn't know that, the Mod 0 implies that there is no modifications on the gun. So, yeah, the only other one that has that name, I do believe, is the MK14 Mod 0, which is strange because it actually has the scope on it that does not actually keep true to what the name is supposed to mean. So, yeah, what it actually in real life is the MK14 Enhanced Battle Rifle. That's what the M14 series actually is. It's not actually an assault rifle, it is a battle rifle. That's how it is properly classified. I'm going to be comparing it to the M14 SE, and then I will go over the customization parts that I highly suggest you use. Keep in mind, it is not the MK14 Mod 0 is not customizable in the Gun Emporium, but the M14 SE is. So looking at the M14 SE, has a base damage of 50, portability of 60, rate of fire of 55, accuracy of 91, and recoil of 69. So when you buff this gun up, the M14 SE, in the Gun Emporium, you're looking at a damage of 53, rate of fire of 58, accuracy of 94, I do believe, and recoil of 73. Now, what I would suggest is that you do not buff, you do buff the accuracy, the damage, and the rate of fire in this gun, all of them, because it's a tap firing gun. It's really not one meant to be sprayed. It's really a matter of would you rather have a little more sprayability or a little more tap ability. And since I'm more of a tapping person with these types of rifles, I typically tend to favor the M14 SE over the Mod 0. The ammo capacity of 20 of 60 for the M14 SE variant definitely kind of points that out. You have a smaller ammo capacity because you're supposed to be tapping your shots accurately as opposed to spraying a little more with a slightly more accurate rifle. The M14 SE is more accurate than the Mod 0. You're looking at a 91 which can be buffed up to a 94 versus the 81. So, just looking at that. Keep in mind the SE, the M14 SE also does have the integrated scope and suppressor already. You're looking at an ACOG scope with the distance one on, I believe that's an A1, and you're looking at an S2 suppressor, I do believe. I don't think it's an S1. However, the spread on the M14 SE is higher than it is on the Mod 0, so keep that in mind. The Mod 0 spread isn't bad, to be completely honest. It's fine. It's just average, but it's fine. The SE's is a little bit on the large side, but it's still completely manageable. That was the luckiest nut shot in the world right there, but if I have to make my personal preference, I still prefer the M14 SE in this game. In most games, I still prefer the Mod 0, but that's just my own personal preference. They're still both fantastic weapons, and you just need to know how to use the guns. They're very, very unique. There are not many guns like them. However, given the rate of fire and stuff, in a lot of cases you will see that the G36E series is more popular for tapping, considering that the spread recovery is faster than on either of these weapons. Even the basic GP G36 is faster spread recovery than either of these. As far as for what I would suggest for the Mod 0, an ACOG scope of some sort, and a extended magazine 1 would probably be the best way to go. The extended magazine's up to you, really, but I usually do use it. I just didn't use it for the purpose of the review. I would never suggest putting a silencer on the Mod 0 because you don't want the damage drop-off to go any lower, or else it becomes a 4-shot kill at longer ranges, which defeats the purpose of using this assault rifle over another. If you're typically looking at a more long-range battle, or you want to be able to accurately take out a single enemy that's already taken quite a bit of damage, the M14 SE is going to be the way to go because it has much less damage drop-off than the Mod 0. I have both weapons for permanent. I've used them both extensively, and I have to say I do prefer the M14 SE most of the time, but I'm a rather unique person since most people do prefer the Mod 0. So make sure you get a chance to test both of these weapons since there is not another Mod 0-like variant for GP. Please be sure you test before you buy and watch this review thoroughly again. I'm about out of time for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and I have several more reviews coming out in the next couple days, so please keep watching, and I'll see you in the next review. Shadolance out.